Hey, folks, good morning. Welcome to Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. Thank you all for joining me in another episode of our new morning One Topic Steelers podcast. The response has been so fantastic. I'm so thankful for the entire audience. I've been loving the comments coming in. Everybody seems to want some music here, and so we're going to try to make that happen. But let me know what we kind of, when we went with the afternoon drive theme music, we very intentionally wanted some guitar rock. I don't know if that's right for morning. I'm thinking something like a little Winston Marsalis little riff like CBS Sunday Morning or something like that. I don't know. Let me know what kind of music you want for the morning rush, and we'll see what we can make happen. Today, I have to warn you, consider this a PSA. This is a Brandon Aiyuk episode. I know some of you are sick of hearing about it, but I think it's pretty clear that Omar Khan and the Steelers have put all their eggs in that basket when it comes to upgrading their wide receiver position. I want to talk about why, and I want to talk about what happened yesterday in San Francisco and why, in my opinion, the Steelers are closer than ever to trading for Brandon Aiyuk. Let's start with what's been happening over the last couple of days. There's been a bunch of wide receivers that found their way to the market one way or another, either through a trade or got cut, and the Steelers haven't. I mean, they did show some interest, but they haven't landed any of them. Tim Patrick goes to the Detroit Lions. Noah Brown goes to the Washington Commanders. Somebody claimed Grant Dubose on waivers with the Miami Dolphins one spot after the Steelers, so they didn't put in a waiver claim on him. Miles Boykin, I think he's still out there, but Allen Robinson came and gone. There's been a lot of different players out there in the market, and it doesn't seem like the Steelers are that interested. It doesn't seem like the Steelers are being really aggressive anyway about trying to get one of those guys into their room. So why? Why are they in this Aiuyk or bust strategy? And I think, when Omar says, I have faith in this wide receiver room, I think he does have faith in the players if they're in the roles that they would be if they got a real number 2 wide receiver. If you have Van Jefferson and Roman Wilson as your 3 and 4 and Calvin Austin and Scotty Miller as your 5 and 6 and guys who mostly play on special teams, I don't think that's a bad wide receiver room at all. The problem is that everybody needs to bump down a slot, and the only way to do that is go get a bona fide number 2 wide receiver, and the only way they're going to get one of those is to actually get a bona fide number 1 wide receiver and move George Pickens down a notch by getting someone like Brandon Aiyuk. There's just no one else available, not right now anyway. And so I think that's what Omar Khan is telling us with his actions anyway. Obviously, I didn't speak to the media this time of year, but I think it's pretty clear that the Steelers are really basically going to get Brandon Aiyuk, or they're not going to have an upgrade they're going to make to their wide receiver room. Now, why do I think they're more likely than ever to get Brandon Aiyuk? I've been saying for months, if you've been listening to this podcast and Afternoon Drive, that the only way the 49ers are going to trade Brandon Aiyuk is if he makes them angry, if he gets things get ugly, right? If the 49ers act rationally, they should absolutely not trade Brandon Aiyuk. It is a bad trade for their team. They will not win it. It will drastically harm their chances of winning a Super Bowl this year, which, by the way, are quite good with Brandon Aiyuk. So they should not trade him. And they know they should not trade him, I think. The only way they're going to trade him is if he makes them so angry and they get so sick of him that they say, we're done with this guy. We would just rather him not be on our team anymore. And that's what's going to have to happen. I've been saying this for months. And I was a little shocked when sort of this whole thing started up again right before, I guess it was in the middle of training camp, where everyone was like, the 49ers are entertaining trade talks. And now there's offers from Cleveland and New England. I'm like, what are they doing? It hasn't even got remotely ugly yet. I didn't understand why they were even considering making a trade at that time. He was holding in. He was at practice. It didn't seem like things were super contentious, at least from the outside. Now things are clearly contentious, right? When the general manager and the head coach say, we expect him to be at practice today, and then he's not at practice, and that's what happened on Wednesday, that's a pretty clear sign that things are getting contentious. And that's what Brandon Aiyuk needs to do to get them to trade him. They have to get to the point where they're just like, even if he would come back, we don't want this guy anymore. Like that's what it's going to have to take. And I think we're seeing real frustration from the 49ers front office. And I think that's what it's going to take. They're going to have to get mad and just say, you know what, forget you, go to Pittsburgh. Will it happen? I don't know. But I think it's weird. I feel like Steelers fans ran out of emotional investment in Brandon Aiyuk. They're just like, yeah, whatever, after 2 weeks, I don't care anymore. And now I think he's much more likely to be traded now than he was at any point in the past. Like really are getting frustrated with him. He really is causing problems for the 49ers front office, and they're going to have to make a decision here in the next week about how okay they are with that. I don't know what they're going to decide, but I think the Steelers are actually in okay shape right here, just based on how much of a pain in the butt he's being. Now, I mean, I think the flip of the coin is, if you were a Steelers fan that was maybe on the fence about whether you wanted them to get Brandon Aiyuk, it's not exactly being the world's greatest teammate out there. He was really putting the clown shoes on, and I guess you can say, well, hey, if it's because he wants to be here and not there, okay. But I think it definitely paints the player in a negative light. That's intentional. That's what he's trying to do. So I've also seen lots of Steelers fans be like, do we even want this guy? And the answer to that question is yes, the Steelers want this guy because their wide receiver room is not nearly good enough, and it would be with him. And he's better than all their wide receivers right now. And the trade on the table is not especially expensive. 2 draft picks, second and a future third probably. For Brandon Aiyuk, that's a steal. That's why the 49ers don't want to do it. And it's why even if they make this trade, they are going to drag it out until the last possible minute. I know if you've been listening here and on Afternoon Drive, you've heard me say that before as well. This isn't going to get resolved today. Probably not anyway. And, we're probably going to go right up until the wire. But I still think that there's a decent chance that the Steelers do end up with Brandon Aiyuk. And I think the longer this goes, the better their chances get. Stay tuned. We'll keep you up to date on the goings on. No practice today. Steelers are off for 4 straight days as mandated by the NFL CBA. They'll be back with that bonus practice on Monday, on Labor Day. Until then, it'll just be Morning Rush with me, an Afternoon Drive with me and Smitty coming up right around 5:30 tonight. So make sure you tune in for that. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of that. And make sure you go over to SteelersNow.com where the news has slowed down a bit, and I've got some good analysis coming up today. But also, go check out the story I wrote about Beanie Bishop grabbing Donnie Shell's jersey number from yesterday. I think that one's pretty good, and I think you'll enjoy it. So make sure you go over there as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And let me know what kind of music you want to start your day with. And, do we want some death metal? I don't think so. Probably. I'm thinking about something you can sip a cup of coffee to and enjoy your little biscotti if that's your move or whatever. Just consider this the 2024 digital age of sitting down at the kitchen table and opening your newspaper. That's where I feel like the vibe we have here. So looking to capitalize that. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see what we can get happen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.